Hello, Scrufftards and random strangers. Welcome back to the Warzone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And if there is some background noise, that is the wife sitting with her phone, and you are just gonna have to deal with it. But now, let's move on to the Western Front because Ukraine keeps advancing. And if we take a look at the ISW map, take a look at this to the west. We have something new. Yesterday we highlighted this incursion. Now we have also this. So let's take a look what's going on down here. And here we have Glushkovo, where Ukraine the other day blew up a bridge. Here we have Ukraine pushing in south of Koronevo, and then we have over here right on the border Ukraine pushing in across the border outside of this town of Tetkino that we've been talking about. Tetkino has been hit by some J-dams. Russia is striking Ukrainian positions on the other side of the border. And now, as we can see, Ukraine has pushed in over the border and reached the river. And it is this area here. You can see here you have the river, you have Tetkino, and it is this landmass here that Ukraine has now claimed. And if we take a closer look at the river itself, I think I found 3 bridges in all. You have these 2 down here in Tetkino, and this, whatever this is, further up north. There might be some other bridge as well, but these are the 3 I've located. But the thing is, we have reports of Russia falling back from this area and blowing them up. And we get that from the UA live map. If we click on their icons, you can see here that 10 hours ago, Russian military bloggers reported that Russian army withdrew from the west bank of the same river, or Zhezhm maybe, river near Tutkino and Popovo-Lechachi, and blown up the bridges. So confirmation that Ukraine pushed in and the Russians fell back, withdrew to the east side of the river and blew up the bridges. And as I was doing this, I stumbled upon this on the UA live map as well, that the bridge at Zvanoye was also destroyed by Ukraine, not that far from Glushkovo, that was struck the other day, so that bridge was also destroyed. So now we have 2 of the 3 main bridges struck and destroyed. So basically here we have Svanoye, where we today have reports that Ukraine struck a bridge, Glushkovo, where Ukraine destroyed the bridge the other day. Ukraine pushed in west of the river, forced Russia back, and Russia destroyed a couple of bridges so Ukraine couldn't follow. And that leaves us with this situation here, where we have the white dotted line being the river, the Sejm River, and Russia has now only one way to cross it to the north to bring in reinforcements, to bring in supplies, or if they have to fall back, this is their only way to retreat. So the question is, will Ukraine keep this bridge untouched, or will they destroy it as well? Because we have seen reports that Ukraine has actually pushed in between Koronevo and Snagost and reached the river, thereby cutting off Russian forces in this area from reinforcements from Koronevo. And with all these bridges being blown, the Russians in this region here are now in quite some trouble, and we have Ukrainians pushing in from the east and apparently beginning to push in from the west. So what will they do? Will they hold, or will they fall back to this one last remaining bridge? I mean, by the looks of it, Ukraine has a pretty good chance of grabbing this entire region if things continue as they have. And so the last remaining bridge is this one here, and Karish. Karish is located here, not that far from Svanoye, where Ukraine today destroyed one of these three main bridges. So this bridge here in this small community is the last avenue for reinforcements and logistics and supplies going into the Russian forces trying to hold this region here. That is looking more and more difficult for Russia to actually hold on to as these bridges are being blown. And like I said, if we take a look at the ISW map, you can see here that according to the ISW, Ukraine has pushed out this far between Koronevo and Snagost, and if we zoom in, according to this map, they are right on top of the river here, having cut off the Russians, splitting them in half. So now we have this entire isolated section of Russia itself with only this one last remaining bridge over here where Russia can move in reinforcements and supplies. So it's a difficult situation for the Russians holding this area, what to do. They can't receive reinforcements this way, and everything is now down to this one last this one last bridge that Ukraine may or may not blow up in the coming days. And this is no small thing. This is no small thing what's going on, because here we can see what Ukraine has achieved so far. This is the Kharkiv front. I mean, pales in comparison to the Kursk operation. And even if you take a look at the Pokrovsk operation here, where Russia has had quite a lot of success in the last couple of months. I mean, take a look at it. For months and months, Russia has tried to achieve this. Compare that to this. I mean, this is a massive, massive success for Ukraine. But I mean, take a look what happens if Ukraine actually pushes out to this river and forces Russia to abandon this entire territory here. This is a huge gain for Ukraine if they manage to pull that off. If they manage to pull this off, it is a win on a massive scale if you take a look at what has been going on in this war. And zooming in a bit, I mean, take a look to compare here with the Kharkiv front that's been ongoing for I don't know how long. And Russia has committed 50,000 troops trying to push into Ukraine this way. I mean, take a look at what Ukraine has achieved so far and what they stand to gain over here between Koronevo and Tetkino. This is a brilliant move by Ukraine. By the looks of it, striking into Sudzha and then swinging north towards Koronevo, and now they are preparing to isolate this Glushkovo region and potentially can grab a huge chunk of Russia and occupying it in just a couple of weeks. And like I said, the ISW map claims Ukraine has reached the river. The Ukraine control map has the area around Snagost as contested, so Ukrainians are operating here, but maybe are not in full control according to Ukraine control map. The Andrew Perpetua map has Ukraine about a mile from the river with controlled territory just north of Snagost, but they are operating in the area according to him. So I mean, all three maps combined, it does appear as if Ukraine has reached or are just about to reach the river, cutting the Russians off from the north and the south. And I mean, here we have Ukraine. Ukraine has pushed out to Koronevo, pushed out to river, and they are in control of a large chunk of Russia, having operations up here, which appears to be a ongoing pincer move. And then you have these incursions in the west. No clue what this is all about. I don't think we've seen any other sources other than ISW claiming this, but here we have confirmation from Russia itself that this is happening. The Russians have fallen back and blown up a bunch of bridges. So the question is if these are new front lines where Ukraine is pushing in to try and attack the Russians for the rear, or if they are diversions to tie up Russian forces in the west, making it easier for Ukraine to achieve operational success around Koronevo and elsewhere. We'll see what happens, but at the moment it does look like Ukraine stands a good chance of actually claiming all of this area here at the moment and grabbing all of this within Russia, potentially within a week or two. Just simply incredible. So there you have it, a bit on the fly. Incredible turn of events in Kursk, where it appears as if Ukraine has gone, well, balls deep and intends to occupy massive chunks of Russian soil and taking the fight to Russia itself and putting this entire conflict on end, turning the tables left and right, and no one knows what's going on. Just incredible. And well, there's not much else to add other than go po march, Ukraine, give them hell.